We're now going to focus on some options that we have that we can configure after we've installed AD RMS. And specifically, what I want to look at here are policy templates. Remember, the word templates means we're going to create a baseline so we can reuse that template as we add additional policies. And we certainly want to do that here because we may have consistency throughout the organization where we want to restrict what the users can do, maybe be less restrictive what others can do, and maybe be wide open for some others. So we'll want to create policy templates to apply these restrictions. These templates are applied to AD RMS aware apps like Office Word. They're stored in the database that we specified when we installed and configured AD RMS, and we created a WID database here. And we have two different tools to work with these policies, the AD RMS console, which we'll take a peek at in just a little while, or we can use a PowerShell command, and that PowerShell command is going to be new-item. When we're going to create a new policy, we have a 7-step process here that we're going to walk through in just a few moments, but we're going to pop into the RMS console. We're going to click on the rights policy templates, and inside the policy templates we have distributed templates and we have archive templates. We're going to go to the distributed rights policy templates and we're going to create a new one. We're going to add a native language. We're then going to specify who this policy is going to be applied to. I can say anyone, or I can use the email address of users or groups. And optionally, we can specify an expiration policy on the expiration policy page, optionally specify an extended policy on the extended policy page, and then optionally we can specify a revocation policy. So the last 3 steps, 5, 6, and 7, are completely optional. If I want to change details of a template after I've created it, any of those documents that are already using that template are going to be notified/updated to reflect those changes. So maybe I created a template initially with view and print, and I've decided I want to remove the print option. Now, if someone's already printed it, it's a hard copy. But if someone now tries to print it or tells their buddy, I was able to print it 2 days ago, and now we remove that print option, that's going to be applied to all the documents using that policy. So look at the power of that when we're talking about that. And we have the option of configuring exclusion policies, and we have 3 types of these babies. We have the application, the user, and then we also have the lockbox option. The application allows you to block specific apps. Again, we'll pick on Microsoft Office Word. The user enables you to name specific users that you want to exclude, and your lockbox version allows you to block specific client versions. For example, if somebody's running Windows Vista, we could actually exclude those users. And we do this, again, through ADRM console, and the steps to do this are right here. In the navigation pane, we're going to click on the exclusion policy node. We're going to go into Manage Application Exclusion List. We're going to enable the application exclusion, and we're going to click the Exclude Application for whatever we're trying to exclude. And in the Exclude Application dialog box, we're going to specify the criteria that's going to meet the exclusion policy. Now, AD RMS doesn't have its own backup and restore functionality, but what we're going to do is focus on backing up the key components like the private key and certificates. We're simply going to export those to an offline location. The WIDS database is backed up during a system backup at the operating system level. The SQL Server database, well, we're going to talk to our SQL Server database administrator and ask that DBA to perform the appropriate SQL Server backup methods. And then we can also back up the templates. We can export templates to a shared folder, and then we can back that folder up as our way for backing up and restoring the content stored in our templates. Let's step out to our AD RMS console and take a peek at these templates. Welcome back to domain controller number 2, where we had completed the installation of AD RMS. We go to Tools now, and there you have it. Active Directory Rights Management Services is now another console for you to be able to work with. Some sort of security alert regarding one of my certificates. I'm going to go ahead and proceed. Notice we have our AZMTP2 as part of this AD RMS cluster. It's only one machine, but it's okay. Then it gives me information about the cluster details in the center here. It provides me information about my database, and there's 2 components, the configuration and the logging. And then down here it's got some additional or recommended tasks: establishing trust, set rights account certificate policies, manage rights policy templates, and view reports. And then we have some optional tasks as well. So if I scroll back up and expand on AZMTP2, you're going to see on the left-hand side here that we have several different options. We're going to take a look at rights policy templates, and we're going to take a look at exclusion policies. So let me just go ahead and click on the rights policy templates. And I mentioned there's two types here. We have the distributed rights policies and the archived rights policies. And the distributed one is highlighted, if you will. So we can go ahead and click on create a distributed rights policy. And the first thing we need to do is add a language. Remember, these are language specific. It's already detected where I'm from, so it's picking English, United States. I'm going to call this EN-US, just like the subdirectories have. And then I'm going to provide a description. We'll just call this a policy for US-based employees. And then we'll click Add. And then we'll go ahead and click Next. And then we can decide what users and rights that we want this policy to be applied to. So again, I can click Add. And I have the option of supplying an email address of a user or a group, or I can say this is applied to anyone, more of a wild card. And then I would apply the policy, and then I could use exclusions to exclude, we'll say, the administrators or somebody like that. We're going to apply this to everyone or anyone. We'll click OK. Look at the options I have. If I want to give everyone full control, there you have it. Really no sense even adding a policy, because by default, if I email you a document, you can save that document, you can print it, you can view it, you can edit it, you can do whatever you want to it. So that's a little redundant. So we're going to clear that. But notice the options we can restrict them to. Viewing the content. So I'm going to go ahead and click that one. I can prevent them from editing unless I click the checkbox. Saving it. Saving as. Underneath that, we have print. I can prevent them from printing. Let's go ahead and turn that one on. I can prevent them from forwarding it, replying, doing a reply all, extracting, allowing macros, viewing rights, and editing rights. So that's how granular that we can get with these documents when we're working with Active Directory rights management. I'm going to go ahead and click Next just to show you these upcoming screens that I mentioned. They're optional. I can't have it so the content expires. I'm going to blast this out today. I only want it good for 7 days, so I'm going to bring this up to 7 days. And now we've created an optional expiration policy. I can click Next, and I have options for specifying conditions for viewing this content. Enable users to view content using a browser add-on is one option. Require a new user license every time content is consumed, which more or less disables the client-side caching. So these are some options I have for specifying the extended policy. And by the way, on these optional configurations, I can click Finish. I don't need to go through all of these. I'm just providing a quick peek of these. My third one is require revocation, and I can specify the location of the CRL and the number of days before that list gets updated. So those are the options that I have. I'm going to deselect this so I can click Finish, and you'll see now we have our EN-US policy. If I go to the exclusion policy, just going to show you this real quickly. We have the user exclusion that we talked about. We have the application exclusion, and we have the lockbox version exclusion. So these are the three different areas where I can come in and configure exclusion lists. And we're going to go ahead and pop into the user exclusion. We'll enable the user exclusion, and after doing so, this goes to a disable user exclusion, which I'll go ahead and do that. And then you'll see that we have applications, and then we have lockbox. So that's where I'll go in and peruse through and configure exclusion policies. So this is a drive-by on the use of exclusion policies and rights policy templates that are managed through the AD RMS console.